Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. Are you a sports fan? Oh, you're a Manchester United fan. What a night it was at the San Mamés last night in Bilbao. As Spurs ended a 17-year wait for a major trophy. The last time they won a trophy was beating Chelsea in the final of the Carabao Cup, or then called the Carling Cup, in 2007. And of course, our son Heung-min Son, Sonny Boy, anyhow you want to call him, was the captain of the night yesterday as they defeated Ruben Amorim's Manchester United to win the Europa League. Not just winning the Europa League, it now guarantees Spurs who play in the group stage of next season Champions League. Let me rephrase, Spurs who will finish 17th in the English Premier League will play not in the playoff round, but the group stage of the UEFA Champions League. Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studios. It's a celebratory mood in the studio because it is Spurs, the Lily Whites, who are European second division European trophy. I want to put it that way because the Champions League is the first. Of course, second division is the Europa League, and then people who don't know what they are valuing for, the Conference League, will come to the teams that play there. Organi Sams joins me on set.
Yeah.
He is an admirer of good football. Please pan the camera to him. I want you to see how I eulogize a man who loves good football. A man who adores the London side of London, the red side of London. But it was not meant to be. Because it is the white side of London, of North London, who are European champions. Yes, are Europa League champions. Let me not mistake you for being Champions League. This is a trophy. Arsenal fans will sacrifice Mikel Arteta to win. And Postecoglou said one thing, that in my second season, I always win something. For local palace here for Nigeria, they go talk, say, the man, na talk and do. Organi Sam, he said it and he delivered.
You know, it's also funny, sincerely speaking. And well, good to be here. And congratulations to what do you call them? Tottenham Hotspur. I think for Arsenal fans, this is how you run a football club. You win. Nearly does not kill and nearly does not bring that joy.
Exactly.
And you actually been the near guys with nothing to shout for. Now, these guys at the beginning of the season, nobody even talks about them. That whether they're going to win a trophy or not. This is where they are right now. Take it or leave it. They had a wonderful season. A far better season than Arsenal. There's no basis for comparison because with Arsenal, there's nothing to shout for. With Arsenal, there's nothing, no trophy to shout for. With them, finishing, I mean, that's magical. Finishing 17 in the league and going to Champions League ahead of the guys that will finish 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. What else do you want? If that's how football would be, let it be. Like somebody says, just find a way, you know, making it work when it matters the most. And since we can come into that game yesterday, right? I was never in doubt that Tottenham will win that game. I was never in doubt. Like I told you off camera, I said it would have been a miracle if Man U win that game because I didn't see Man U winning that game at all. On what ground? How would they want to win that game? They've been so poor. I've said this thing over and over and over. The worst that can happen to anybody. See, bro, there is beauty in consistency.
Definitely, I agree.
Look, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, in the next 10 years, you're going to look extraordinary. If you do this and then change tomorrow, you do this and you change tomorrow, you're not going to look like you know what you're doing. Same thing with Manchester United, you understand? Pause. Ferguson era, you've had almost about seven managers so far. It's not working. Why won't you stop this? Their biggest mistake, like I said, I remember the day they let go of, what's his name, ETH. I said, look, I was sad because I foresaw this thing coming. The issue is about you want to continue with the tradition that was built over 22 years. And you want to continue almost seamlessly. Which is not possible.
It's almost impossible.
So instead of accepting reality that, look, there is a change of guard. Things have changed, you understand? We're not doing things differently. And so allow people to come with their philosophy and come and run this thing the way they're supposed to. And give them time. Then they've not sacked Arteta now. I didn't another one.
We'll go to Manchester United.
I was not shocked at all. Congratulations to Spurs. Congratulations to, I mean, Arsenal fans can do what they want to do. Nobody stopped you from winning. Why didn't you win the Champions League? What happened with the league? How about the Carling Cup? How about the FA Cup? Why were you butlers in all those competitions? I mean, your business out there. Congratulations to, what do you call them? Spurs. Congratulations particularly to the guys that And refused to let go. Guys like Son, you mean that you actually said. Yeah. Guys like even Madison, for me, he came and he has been phenomenal for Spurs since last season. You understand? So particularly Son, nobody knew he's going to win anything with Spurs because he's been there almost everybody that was with him.
We all questioned why he signed a new contract. It's not like the club is offering him more money.
And almost everybody that was with him has actually moved on.
Everybody you know played the final in the 2017 Champions League, or was it 2019 when they got to the final?
Yeah, 2019.
When they got to the final in 2019,
nobody's there again.
Nobody's
there again.
He's at the club. Only Son, you mean?
Do you know the funniest thing? He's winning a trophy the same year Harry Kane wins a trophy.
He said it yesterday. Son, Kane, we've done it. Yeah. Finally, we have a trophy. But let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur, because now this is a team that Daniel Levy, of course, for everything, he's been one man that has faced a lot of criticism from Spurs fans. They were so close to winning the title about 2 seasons ago. Yeah. He let go a manager who took you to the final of the Carabao Cup. Less than about 48 hours to a final when they lost to City in the Carabao Cup final. Mourinho left the club, and then a new manager came in. They didn't end up winning that competition. They've got into another final. For what it is, it's shown that no matter how bad Spurs want to play, they've been able to project themselves as a team that want to compete.
They're a powerhouse. That you can't take it away from them.
You know, we asked this question at the beginning of the season if they were a top 6 side.
Yeah.
You were also not sure.
No, yeah, I wasn't.
If they were still in that category of the top 6 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But winning the Europa League. They always hover around. But winning the Europa League. Let's start with Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Personally, an Australian coach in the Premier League looks like, what is this guy doing?
Not really.
So, not really. He has come in.
The English guys, I don't know.
Well, like the average. I don't want to go there. Most of them are average coaches. I'm coming off the fact that he's come from the Scottish League, but before then he's come from Sydney. That's the Australian League, a league that is not really common to us.
As a member, I speak from Japan.
When
you can remember,
it's once in a while. I know.
I came from Japan.
You can excuse that the Wenger factor, but he was a Frenchman.
He, of course,
whether he came from Japan, look, he came from a European
if you're good,
nation.
you're good. Whether you're a Frenchman, whether you're a Nigerian man, if you're good, you're good. Where did we get this guy from? Eric Chell.
No, let's not go to Eric Chell. Please, let's leave.
No, right.
But Ange Postecoglou, it was certain that he was going to deliver, because I like a man who is convinced about himself first. Because you need to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Before you now instill the same belief to the players.
Yeah.
Now Spurs had a tough team, on their way to the final. Even though Bodo Glimt was simple in the semi-final.
Yeah.
But you look at it and say, I always win. And he put the Europa League as his main, strength. And there you have it. A title in Bilbao.
Now here's why. I think whether I like it or not, right, we're not going to discount certain things. Certain things actually played very important role to him winning this. Like I said on a different platform last week, I said, look, it's not a shame that we'll have 2 butlers, 2 teams that are struggling, 2 teams that are almost at the bottom of the Premier League, playing the second most prestigious European Cup final. It's an indictment on the part of practically everybody that participated in that from other countries. Because if these guys can't do anything, if they're struggling, if they're surviving relegation by the whisker, because probably the guys that are relegated didn't get their act right, then these 2 teams do not have any business playing in that final. Now, what happened that made it easy? The new format. Take it from me, without the new format, we wouldn't have actually have these guys as winners. Now, with the new format, nobody comes from the phase.
Yeah, nobody comes from the Champions League.
Because if people were dropped,
I agree. If a team like City are dropped in Europa League,
you have just said City is there and some other. Wouldn't have been talking about these guys winning this. So, do you know the funny thing? From now henceforth, right, the guys are going to be playing the Europa League. If you're a bit okay, you're going to get to the final. It's just like what we're seeing with the Conference League.
Yeah, nobody drops again.
Because as it is right now, you have 36 teams in the Champions League. It means almost all the reasonable teams are in the Champions League. And at the end of the day, nobody from Champions League comes down to the second division. So that gives you a ticket. If Arsenal is going to be in that league, there's everything is Arsenal is going to get to the final. If Chelsea is going to be in that, now that's what it is. So it made it a bit easy.
You just need to win what's ahead of you.
Simple. And so check out the number of opponents they've actually played. Check out the nature of the opponent they've actually had. Like you say, Body Glen. Aside Body Glen, like from mind you, aside Atletico Bilbao, which is that side that man you played that way.
Lyon. They also played Lyon.
Lyon is, with all due respect to the French league, Lyon is not supposed to be a threat to anybody right now.
Well,
of course,
I agree to a large extent.
I shouldn't be struggling to beat Lyon. Mine shouldn't be struggling to beat Lyon. Sport shouldn't be struggling to beat Lyon, despite having a very poor season at home.
Because
so, like I said,
AZ Alkmaar. They played AZ Alkmaar. They also had a team like Frankfurt from Germany. So that's the teams they played in knockout phases. And if I'm to play an AZ Alkmaar side in the round of 16, I play a Frankfurt side in the quarterfinals, and I go and play Bodo Glimt side in the semifinals.
I mean,
dashed me.
I'm not surprised about the Glimt were even in the semifinal.
It shows that the teams in that cadre, because if you look at it holistically, the team in the Spurs, in the side where Spurs were, we had Ajax who were disappointing. We had AZ Alkmaar. We had Bodo Glimt. We had Olympiacos. We had Victoria Plzen and Lazio. Now on paper, only Lazio and maybe a team like Ajax
supposed to be a trade.
A threat
supposed to be
Spurs.
A trade. Yeah, they supposed
compared
to be.
I think United had it tougher with Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho on their side. I'm talking about on their side of the draw. Fenerbahce, of course, Rangers, Athletic Bilbao, AS Roma, Lyon, Basel, and Real Sociedad.
They had it tough, right? Agreed. But here's the simple truth, right? See, fact is so that nobody should get me wrong. See, it doesn't change the nature of the competition. It doesn't change the fact that you've won something reasonable, something huge. That what it's supposed to be is not what it is. Does not change the fact that it is the second most prestigious competition in Europe right now. And that what we're saying here does not in any way reduce the prestige attached to that competition. But we're saying the competitive level of that competition has actually dropped because of the new format of the Champions League. Remember when... But that aside... Now, as a side, if you know that it's going to be easy for me to do this, what are you supposed to do? Get it right now. Look at what Chelsea have done in the Conference League. They barely concede. When they go to, they go and funny. They're using their French team.
They use the French team to play.
They use the French team. You understand? But even at that, they go out and they go out very well. They score and so simple. Sport has been able to do that, regardless of. Look how they defeated Bodo Glimt. I think first leg
over both legs. Yeah.
First leg was about 4-1 or 4-0.
They beat them 5-1 over both legs on aggregate.
You understand?
3-1 and 2-0.
Simple. We know how Man U were almost knocked out, I think by, is it Roma?
By Lyon.
By Lyon. Sorry, I say Roma. By Lyon. They came close, something magical happened. And Man U survived, you understand? So from that, see, between these two clubs, it is the best side win. Fact. Even though in the league, they are below Manchester United, but
just the point. Let's remember just the point.
They might even finish the league ahead of Manchester United.
Very possible. Very possible.
It's very possible that Man U might lose on Sunday and Spurs will win. And that's it.
Let's now talk about Manchester United as regards the Europa League. Ruben Amorim, 26 games in the Premier League, just 6 wins. History has it that he has the worst record than the manager who relegated Derby County when they had the worst season ever in the English Premier League. Now, let's talk about Amorim's team selection yesterday. Now, Alejandro Garnacho has played almost every game in the Europa League and he has started almost every game. Why put Garnacho on the bench in a final where you needed your best players from the goal? I understand he was trying to reward consistency or reward hard work, let me put it that way, with Mason Mount, who, of course, came off the bench, had a better performance against Bilbao in the semi-final second leg, but still not enough to put a player who has been there. You put Kobe Mino on the bench. Kobe Mino only came in for the last 20 minutes, almost in the 90th minute. That's when they brought in Kobe Mino. And Rasmus Højlund was on the field for almost the entire, before he was substituted. And I asked myself, what was Amorim's plan in that?
He's a bad coach. Simple. He doesn't know what he's doing. Simple. Because if you as an outsider from here can say, look, this is where you're getting it wrong, then he supposed to know better. And thankfully, this guy is not holding back. What was his name?
Garnacho. Yeah, he made a statement.
Yeah, he said,
and the statement was damning. He said, I cannot be playing every game.
Then when
he gets to the final,
you
I'm
give him
less than 20 minutes.
I think he spoke in their language.
Yeah, but it just tells you that United team
he said for now, I'm going for the whole day to go and enjoy myself. Things will sort out, itself later. The truth is this, right? I am not a fan of this one-hit wonder kind of a thing. Whether I like it or not, I don't know how consistent. I did not actually follow him that much in Sporting. I'm talking about Ruben Amorim, right? But I never believed that he was that wonderful that I can let go and ETH that got to the final of Champions League.
Europa League.
Go to the semi-final of Champions League.
No, it was the Europa.
Who took Ajax to the semi-final?
Okay, it was him.
Of course, he was one
with Ajax. Yes,
with Ajax, he got to the semi-final of Champions League. He got knocked out by I think Tottenham Hotspur. Away from home.
Spurs, yes.
They even won away from home. You understand? Somehow
they lost in Holland.
Now the truth is this, right? If there's going to be a change, let it be an upgrade, not equal grade, not downgrade. Let it be an upgrade. I said it boldly. I said with Amorim, it's never an upgrade. Let's not get carried away with some flashy things that happen once in a while. Let's look at beyond this thing. Let's look at what this kind of person is made up of. And like I said, I always maintain change, consistent change does not bring sustainability. It doesn't bring glory. It always gonna bring chaos. And what we're seeing right now in Manchester United is chaos. Because how can you explain where a manager came, like you said, even though for the fact that ETH was able to garner about 15 points before he came up,
It would have been
you would have been
disastrous.
going on relegation too. Because you played 26 games, it shows you played almost 80%
Of the league matches.
The league matches. And what do you have to show?
Nothing.
Just 6 wins,
Nothing.
which is barely how many points?
United cannot get 40 points.
This
in
is not
a
going to get
38 games Premier League. Manchester United
They
have
played
played 37 games. And
Just
they're
a game
on
to go.
39 points.
And so,
There's no guarantee that United will finish on 40 points. It means that United are averaging a point per game. Not to even say what it is. It is the worst that can happen. To be honest, not even Nasarawa United will play in the Premier League right now. Sorry to use Nasarawa United as an example. Not Nasarawa United will play in the Premier League and will finish this low.
that bad.
40 points.
Now,
that
here's
bad.
the issue. Here's the issue. Now, I've seen different debates. Some people are saying the player, some people are saying the coach. Believe me, it's all encompassing. Everybody has his own share. But that lack of consistency is the biggest issue, whether I like it or not. If you wish, sack Amorim and bring another person. As far as there's not going to be consistency, as far as you're not going to change your philosophy, as far as you wouldn't tell yourself, let's accept our reality. Look, the Ferguson era is gone. It's long gone. Can we now start something different? If you're going to remain in that dreamland of the Ferguson era, okay, Ferguson was there. This is Man U. You will remain there forever and ever. Nothing is going to happen. What do? You end up signing players. You need players you don't need. I mean, why pay such amount of money for Højlund? Like you said, but Højlund aside, let's talk about gameplay. Let's talk about how they play this game. How many of their matches have actually watched and you're impressed with it?
I can barely pick up a Manchester United match and say, wow.
If you're going... Like I said, Manchester United
maybe
winning
the game
that game
against Bilbao because it was a shocker.
I think that was one of their best performance this season.
7-1 over 2 leg was shocking.
That was one of their best
and then
performance
maybe
this
Lyon,
season.
the comeback against Lyon was also
Well, I
superb.
don't want to call down. I mean, for me, the best performance this season is against Bilbao, right? But here's simple truth. It doesn't change anything at the end of the day. It does not change anything at the end of the day because at the end of the day, do you know the funniest thing? I love this reality check because if Man U have actually won, they would have felt they're on the right track. But believe me, they're not on the right track. And if nothing drastic is going to happen, I mean, if nothing drastic will not happen in that team, man, bro, there's going to be issue. The next season is going to be crazier than this season. But like I said, the biggest issue right now is should they now go ahead and change another coach? Because Amorim, fact,
stay
not,
or go.
Bro, as it is right now, because I'm not a fan of change, as low quality of a coach as Amorim is, I've been making stay. I would not know consistency, but I actually do. I mean, look at what's his name, because what I like it, for me, personal opinion, for me, I feel Una is not a decent coach. But look at what he's doing with Aston Villa. Probably because of consistency. He has been there for 2-3 years now. And you can see what he's doing right now. He's beginning to get his act right. Amorim is years, I understand. But even at that, now you cannot execute, you cannot play more than 38 matches or about 38 matches with nothing to shot for.
Okay, let's go to Bruno Fernandes quickly. After the game, his agent posted something on Instagram saying that, a player not to be, but he deserves more. Now, deserving more, there's been a bid from a Saudi Arabian club for Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. He could want to go for more money. But Bruno has also come out to clarify that only if the club wants him out, saying that if they want to bring more money into the club by selling him to make sure money comes into the club, he will leave. It was terrible last night. I think it was one of the worst performances for Bruno Fernandes also as a player. But he rubs off on the entire team.
Cover around.
I'm not covering Bruno. I think he's been City's Manchester United's most standout player in the last 3 seasons.
Because Manchester United is so poor. And that explains why people will not pick him ahead of Odegaard. If Arsenal is as poor as Manchester United and Odegaard giving this,
probably
you wouldn't have been condemning Odegaard that much, right? The truth is this, right? He's too inconsistent. Then his overall contribution is very, very poor. He could actually strike and make the difference. I agree. But overall contribution, especially on the day that Manchester United is struggling, he's nowhere to be found. And it's been like that. If you see him playing very well, then Manchester United is dominating. Now, regarding whether he wants to leave Manchester United or not, I mean, like you think, thankfully he has rushed to. I feel he naturally loves that club. He wants to associate himself with the club for the longest time, right? So I love what he has done, and that's what I want from players. When things like this happen, quickly react. Don't allow people to keep speculating. Now you actually put everything. You have actually doused all the tension. You've put everything to rest right now. Whoever wants to speculate, just want to speculate just because of his own personal reason, not because you've not been able to, say what it is. You've said it, and that is what I want from players. I've seen players where such kind of thing will happen and they'll just keep quiet. They'll keep enjoying the noise. You understand? They'll keep enjoying the banters. And at the end of the day, if the club gets angry and say, you know what, go. And it becomes a problem. They don't say, you never liked me from the beginning, blah, 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 blah. I love the fact that he respects the club. He respects the opportunity he has. Like I said, these are platforms that people swayed and everything build. Okay. So you don't take it for granted for whatever reason.
Well, let's talk about the financial implication for both clubs. For Spurs, you're the money man. You understand what it means for them. About 53 million is what United made the last time they played in the Champions League under the old format.
Yeah, under the old format.
Now Spurs will have more money playing the Champions League from a team that barely earned about 3.5 winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
Now going on to earn so much money from playing the Champions League. There's a guarantee money, at least 4 home games, ticket revenue and all of that. If they go beyond the group stage and go to the knockout phase, they also earn good money. Yeah. For Manchester United, it is now a disaster financially.
See, it makes them...
I think a few days ago, I saw that Ratcliffe had dropped in the British richest men. His rankings dropped, I think by 7 places or 9 places. Right now, next season, the man will drop further.
Of course, certainly. Because and guess what? I don't know. That club is in crisis right now.
Definitely.
Because the thing is this: will you maintain this squad with nothing to fight for? No Europa League, no Europe completely.
There's no European.
No Europe completely. No.
The fact that Manchester United will enter the Carabao Cup in barely the first round or second round. Because of course they're finished 16th.
Now that's one. So will you maintain this bogus squad? That's one. Now Manchester United is like a plague right now that nobody wants to get close to. Fact. Particularly the same players. Because Manchester, they were banking on the fact that okay, we're going to win.
And they probably attract Osimhen.
That is it.
No, they can't even attract.
They can't attract anybody right now.
Even Boniface, they cannot attract. What about Osimhen?
Now you talk down.
No, fact. Right now, Man United will sign Boniface.
Of course.
Because Boniface don't pass them.
It means they're going to struggle next season. It means even guys like Garnacho will leave with their head high.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I can't play for a team that you understand. Well, it might reality check. But the question is this: reality check. How will you now solve the problem? When you wouldn't have the base of talent to come and play for you.
They will pay Chelsea £3.5 million for Mason Mount getting to the final of the European competition. Meanwhile, they did not make that money. I think sometimes clubs should look at the investment they do.
Bad business all over. And the problem is where you will not, that change of guard for me, I still maintain was never necessary.
Well,
letting go take hard. Then here's, with Spurs right now, believe me, the best of players will come to Spurs.
I agree.
Hardly would that team approach any player and the player will turn them down.
They can easily go to Bayer Leverkusen.
They can go to anywhere and nobody will now start talking about Postecoglou. As bad as he was this season.
Because Champions League football
he's still a better coach than Arteta.
Even Maresca.
Of course not.
Maresca.
If I call Arteta, why go call Maresca?
Yes, because he's playing the Champions League. Well, the change the biggest problem for Manchester United, but Spurs do not care because at the end of the day, it is Tottenham Hotspur who are Europa League champions for the first time in their history. Of course, a third European title for Spurs, but a first Europa League title for the Lily White. It was glory.
And Arsenal yet to get one.
At the end of the day. But for Arsenal fans, dear Arsenal fans, I feel for you once again. Because even though it was Manchester United that lost, you still had to take some of the bullets and the bantering. But it is football. You go again next season like your normal slogan is.
Keeping the
See you next season. But on behalf of us, from here, to Tottenham Hotspur fans, if there are any, I do have very few Tottenham Hotspur fans, a loyal fan. I think I used to have a friend while I was growing up, Divine. Very, very loyal Spurs fan. I was shocked because in my head, who supports Tottenham Hotspur? Who supports Spurs as a club? But I know he's happy wherever he is because our Spurs are finally winning a trophy and a major European trophy. But where do they
did that before Arsenal?
And they did that before Arsenal. Come on, it's crazy.
I think let's repeat that over and over.
It's crazy. They did that before Arsenal. It's crazy that Arsenel, for all of it is, because Arteta has spent 6 years and the only
there's no guarantee that Arteta is going to do it anytime soon.
Is the FA Cup. The FA Cup that Oliver Glasner won in 7 months. Postecoglou has won the Europa League in less than 2 years.
Same FA Cup that 8 years ago Sag won.
Won it like it was his birthright for Arsenal.
Nothing so special about that.
Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studio. Thank you, Okani Sam, for doing this with me. For Arsenal fans, see you next season. Because this is where we end the chapter in Europe, in Europa League. Next season, Arsenal will be moving the Champions League. Maybe we'll come May next season to congratulate Arsenal winning the Champions League. But until then, sorry, Arsenal fans, congratulations, Spurs. Football Temple brought to you by Azar Studios.